Oh, I needed some water. Sorry.
I actually got a cup of coffee.
I saw.
I was being kind of bad.
Oh, girl, it happens.
Yes.
Can't be perfect all the time.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, let's try and find some ways to get this coffee under control. So, the first problem that you mentioned was you use a lot of creamer.
Yeah.
So, and you really like the flavored creamer, and you like a lot of it in there to get that sugary flavor taste that you're looking for.
Right.
So, some things that I've thought of that you might be willing to try that we could talk about was, I know that they do make some low-fat creamers. And I know that you said you really didn't like the Starbucks skinny type of coffee. I know, I think they taste bad too, I know.
Yeah.
So I know it may not have the same flavor consistency that you're looking for because it is a lower fat, but I mean, even if you just used half low-fat creamer and half regular fat creamer, it would really cut back on the amount of calories. So do you think that's something you'd be willing to try?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to try that.
Mm-hmm.
As long as there's no, like, artificial stuff in it.
Yeah, I know, that's kind of funky stuff. And the other thing I thought of was, I know they make powdered creamer.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've seen those, but
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really given them a second thought.
Yeah, and I know they have flavors. I don't think they have as many flavors as the liquid creamers, but it's not as high in fat because it's in a powdered form.
Oh, okay.
So it also has fewer. It's still high in sugar, of course, but it does have lower fat calories. So that might be another thing to try.
Okay.
And another thing is they make a million, zillion, bajillion different kinds of flavored coffees. And I saw snickerdoodle coffee. I have seen cinnamon coffee. I have seen pumpkin pie coffee. I have seen all different kinds of coffee. So my other thought was maybe if you tried to buy some flavored coffee and then used like maybe 2% milk instead of a creamer, then of course the 2% milk has less calories than a creamer, but you'd still have a really great flavor from the flavored coffee.
That's a good point.
So that might be something to try, and I mean, you can mix coffee flavors more, I think, better than you could mix creamer flavors, but if you wanted like a mint chocolate coffee, you could get mint coffee and chocolate coffee and mix them both together, and then you have all sorts of crazy flavors you could make. So, and I know you said you didn't really like the low-fat milk, but if you're drinking whole milk, that's almost twice the amount of fat as in 2% milk.
That's true.
It's quite a big difference if you think about it. And I mean, 2% milk, as long as you start out in little amounts, it's really, a lot of my patients have no problem switching to it. It's more when they get to 1% and skim that it's like,
those are like too watery.
Too drastic. So, I mean, just baby steps. Baby steps are fine. So maybe try and use a little bit of 2% milk in the flavored coffee instead.
Okay.
So that might be something worth trying to see how it goes.
Just as long as it's not non-fat milk. I'm not a fan of the watery tasting milk.
Even I'm a dietitian and I won't drink skim milk. I know, I need not flavored water.
What about soy milk? Because I was thinking about trying that.
Soy milk works too. The only thing that I found with soy milk is I did try and use it as a creamer once when I was on a creamer phase.
Yeah. It
kind of gets a little congealed if your coffee's too hot.
Okay.
And then you have congealed stuff in your coffee. So I recommended maybe making sure the soy milk is at room temperature before putting it into the coffee, so it's not that blast of cold and hot, and that kind of helped a little bit, and you don't use as much. So I mean, you can certainly play with it, and I know almond milk, a lot of people use almond milk in their coffee, but it doesn't function it doesn't chemically function the same in coffee as milk, so it kind of does some funky things, but certainly worth trying and playing with, of course. Okay.
That sounds like a good idea. Maybe I'll try that.
Good. And really look at the different kinds of coffee that are in the grocery stores, because you will be amazed at how many different kinds there are.
I mean, I tried a peppermint mocha one once, and it tasted horrible.
Really? Ooh, well, don't try that one again then.
Yeah, maybe it was the coffee brand. I'm not sure. But I think after that, I decided to stick with my regular, Starbucks French roast coffee.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I mean, even if you bought like some vanilla extract, or I know they make different flavors of extract. You can try those, like peppermint extract, coconut, rum. I know they have a bunch of different kinds, and they make natural ones of those, like natural vanilla.
Yeah, I've seen. So. I don't know if you know anything about the stevia extracts that are flavored. Do you know anything about those?
I know a little bit, not as much. I haven't done as much research as I want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I saw some people buying them in the grocery store last week, and I was just curious about them. But
well, it might be something to try. You can experiment, try something different.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Good. And
I guess after having that flavored coffee, I didn't want to experiment too much. Cause it's hard when you buy something and then you don't feel like returning it, and then it just sits in your kitchen, you know, for the longest time.
You don't want to waste your money.
Yeah.
I know as a grad student, money's tight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, and the other thing you mentioned was your sugar in your coffee.
Yes.
Now, have you ever thought about using one of the sugar substitutes?
Well, see, I'm a little bit concerned about sugar substitutes because I've read bad stuff about Sweet and Low and Splenda, and I mean, even though they haven't been, like researched, like to have a specific result, that causes cancer, causes death or whatever. Like, I'm just a little bit concerned because when they came out, I mean, it hasn't been for like 100 years that they've been out, so they don't really know, too much about how people have reacted over the course of their lifetime.
Right. And I know you mentioned earlier you really don't like chemical additives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they do have the new sweetener called Truvia from the stevia plant. And you mentioned the Truvia stuff, but that's from an all-natural plant. And it is very, very sweet. Oh, I'm sorry, there's the train again. I know, I'm sorry. We've gotten used to it here. But back to the Truvia plant. It's very, very sweet, and I found when I use it, I can only use half of a packet because it is so sweet that it is too much for me. So, I mean, you can get 2 uses out of 1 packet, and that cuts back on your budget. You don't have to buy as much.
Yeah, that's
true.
And
it's from an all-natural plant, so there's no additives. So it might be something worth trying just to see. It comes in a green package. They're all broken down by colors, like Splenda is yellow, Sweet and Low is pink, and Equate is blue, and Truvia is green.
Okay. I will
so
definitely
look
try
at the colors.
That. I will try that.
Give that a try.
Okay.
So, some things that I told you to try were to cut back on the creamer, trying to use maybe a low-fat creamer or switch to one of the powdered creamers, or buy a flavored coffee and try using a 2% milk instead of a whole milk. So those are things to try, and then of course trying the stevia plant instead of using the